Walk so mean, the way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kissed goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti. Black girl magic, melanin popping, whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage. You a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, dog.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. This is a podcast about mental health and wellness, as well as self-empowerment for Black women. I'll help you chase that fire that you have from within. You just got to trust the process. I'm your host, Ursula, and each week I promise to deliver relevant topics and resources that affect our community. So just remember, once we identify the problem is when we can start to heal. So again, welcome to season 2, and thank you for returning. I'm very excited as usual. And once again, we have a new look. I'll open up the place a little bit more so you can see a little bit more. We're still doing a little construction over here. But I have a new look, new resources, new guests. We have some returning guests, one that we have waiting in the waiting room. So I'm very excited about that. Let me know that you're here. Type where you're tuning in from. I'm having global listeners now. So I want to hear from you. Where are you? Say hello. If you're catching this on the replay, please type replay in the comments. Make sure you start a watch party or share. I would really love that. Like and comment during this live. You know, we're all family now. We're starting to bond. So let me know your thoughts. And you know, every little bit helps. And it also helps podcasters. So we have another special guest from last week, the beautiful Sarah Kamoto. And I would like to read her bio like I did last week, just for the news listeners if you are just tuning in. So, actually, I think I'm going to let Sarah talk about her mini bio. Why not? We're going to get right into it. So, Sarah, I'm bringing you on now. Let's see.
Hi again.
There she is. How are you,
Hello.
Sarah?
I'm really well, thank you. How are you going?
I'm well. Thank you for returning again.
You're welcome.
My listeners really enjoyed you last week. They really did.
It's a lot of fun.
I enjoyed it. So, if you all cannot tell, Sarah has a beautiful accent. Sarah, can you tell everybody where you are streaming from?
Yes. I live in Melbourne, Australia, but I'm from the UK, but I've been here for about 18 years. So you'll hear my English accent. Might sound a little bit Australian, but mainly English.
Nice. I hear it sprinkled in there a little bit. What brought you to Australia? I never asked you that.
Well, I came on holiday with my then boyfriend. His family emigrated here back then, and we came for a holiday, loved it, so decided to take a year out and come here and then go to university here in Australia, but that was in Perth.
Really?
And then, yeah, did uni here, and then, I mean, we broke up, but I had a good job and friends, so decided to stay and get my permanent residency and citizenship, and that's it. Yeah.
Wow.
The rest is history.
I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
I see people are coming in now. You all drop in, say hello, let me know who you are. And Sarah, can you tell everyone what kind of coach you are?
Yeah, so I'm a narcissistic abuse recovery coach. So I help people heal after they've been through or found out that they've been in a narcissistic or abusive relationship. So that can be anything from emotional abuse, psychological, mental, financial, verbal, all of those kinds of abuses. Sometimes it's physical abuse as well, but it's mainly that hidden abuse, the emotional abuse, which we don't really know about it until we've had the experience, until after the fact. So trying to raise awareness and educate people on the fact that if something doesn't quite feel right in your relationship, then maybe there's something going on that you don't know about.
Right. Wow. So I want you all to take a look at Sarah's Instagram. You can get all her information. I put it in the show notes already. So even if you dip out a little bit, go ahead and click on the link that I put on there, and it's going to take you directly to Sarah's contact information. So, Sarah, can you just give us a quick summary of what we talked about last week with the overt narcissism?
Yeah, so last week was about the overt narcissist, which is also like the grandiose narcissist, the loud and proud one, the one that everyone knows is a bit difficult or maybe arrogant, thinks they're amazing. Everyone knows who they are. And yeah, nothing is hidden, hence the word overt. They are the same usually out of the home as they are inside the home, with no regard for how you feel or anyone else around them, actually. You know, they'll be the rude person in the restaurant, rude to the waiter, you know, kind of quite aggressive sometimes as well. Yeah. No filter.
None. It's my reality, but I know exactly what that is, and it's horrible. It's embarrassing, and it's horrible. It's so embarrassing.
Yes, you have to feel you have to cover up for them or apologize for their behavior, or like their behavior reflects onto you as well. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. So everyone, today so last week, as Sarah just said, we talked about overt narcissism. Tonight, we're going to focus on covert narcissism. So I'll give you some experience that I had with it. This is hard for me. This is triggering, but I'm going to get through this.
Yeah,
but
you will.
I had a covert narcissistic relationship, and I had no idea until, just like you said, until it was over. And I always had this little nagging feeling that something just wasn't right. But because of I was trauma bonded. So I will admit I chose not to see some things. But, you know, I'm glad that's over.
Yes. Definitely an experience, isn't it?
Oh, God. It's like a roller coaster ride that never ends.
Yes. And when you're out of it, that's when you realize, like, how did I even survive through that every single day?
Exactly. So what are some other characteristics of an covert narcissist?
The covert? Yes. Yeah, so the covert narcissist is the hidden kind of narcissist. Some people call them the insecure narcissist or the vulnerable narcissist. So it's the one that has the perfect image outside of the home, the perfect father, the perfect husband or wife, perfect mother, perfect colleague, boss, whatever it may be. And behind closed doors, it's like the wolf in sheep's clothing. They are the complete opposite in the home. The Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, that kind of character, like to be seen as the pillar of the community. There could be like preachers, it could be community members, people who want to be seen as good people. But behind closed doors, it's their family members who get the joy of seeing who they truly are, which is the complete opposite.
Exactly. And the killing part about it is you really don't see it at all, because they know how to have that mask on, and it's something
Yes,
else.
it's firmly on. And because they're usually well-liked people or well-respected, you kind of like and respect them or love them as well. So that when you see these glimpses, we tend to sweep them under the carpet because, oh, but they're so good in the community. They're such a nice person when they want to be. But it's not that they're actually nice. It's their love bombing, or it's because, they're happy, with their supply. So that you're kind of put on that pedestal and everything's calm in the home. There's no eggshells. But you know that it's coming. You learn to recognize the cycles.
That's what it is. That
Yeah.
toxic cycle. Can you explain to everyone what love bombing is?
Yeah, so love bombing. Some people get confused with this. Love bombing is usually at the beginning of the relationship when it's laid on thick. It's a tactic used by these kinds of people to secure you as supply. So they're doing and saying everything necessary to secure you as supply, to get you hooked, to get you to fall in love with them, so that they can relax because they know they have you. So it could be whining and dining. People get confused. They think it's like fine jewelry, whining and dining, fancy holidays. It's not always that. It's whatever is necessary for you as a person to get you hooked. So if it's writing you poems, declarations of love, if it's doing things for you, they will do those things. It doesn't necessarily have to be those typical romantic things. It's whatever's going to work.
So is that the same as mirroring?
Yeah, so usually it's like, well, I mean, this is very simplistic version. Well, I really love doing X. And they're like, oh my God, I love doing that too. Or I don't like this. And it's like, no, I really hate that as well. So it's just whatever you say, they say it. And it gets you comfortable because they seem familiar to you because you are talking to yourself. Really, when you bring it down, it's like, I really love to burn incense and burn candles and meditate. Oh my God, I can't believe I love that too. Can you believe that? And you feel comfortable and safe because they're just like you.
You know what? When you said it's like talking to yourself.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
And then, so that's how we get very comfortable and feel very safe with them. But that is not sustainable for them. It takes a lot of energy. And then once they know you're secured, that's when the mask starts to slip. They can relax their shoulders and become more who they really are. But you've fallen in love with who they've pretended to be.
Mm-hmm.
And some people get confused. Like, usually it's the first few months, but the love bombing can go on for longer. It depends. If you didn't live together or if you're a different state or country, that love bombing can go on for years. It's not just the initial stages, but when you're together, like consistently, that's when their mask starts to slip.
Wow.
And you start to see those other traits.
Interesting. I was listening to this podcast, and this woman said she was married for 16 years. And she always had that feeling, knew something was off. But she said one day he just came right out with it. And she didn't know where she was going, left, right, up, down. She was in a really bad place.
He told her what he was, or what did he do?
He didn't tell. It's just he just couldn't hide it. Or I guess he didn't want
any longer. Yes, yeah. And he'd obviously got as much out of her as he wanted to or needed to, I think.
Yeah, because he ended up having another lover. So there you go.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It can go on for years. I have some followers who are married for 30 years, and didn't know until they find my page or pages like my page. Always had that nagging feeling, but because of the cycles, they're not terrible all the time. If they were terrible all the time, we wouldn't stay.
Exactly.
And they know that.
You're right. They know when to press the pedal and when to accelerate.
Yes. And then I get a lot of questions like, do they know what they're doing? Do they really know? Well, it's like, okay, can they switch it on and off? Do they do it outside? No. Well, then they are aware. They can control how they are outside the home, and they're different inside the home. So that means they are aware on some level of what they're doing.
Do you think they care?
Oh, they don't care. No, they don't care. They just care about what they can get out of people, because we are supply to them. We're fuel, energy. So a family is energy and supply to you. There's endless supply. Children love you unconditionally, no matter how terrible you are. So it's endless source of supply through their children.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of supply, so can you explain what a primary supply is?
Yeah, so primary narcissistic supply is their energy source, like their fuel. What keeps them going, what they need to be energized. So supply can be negative or positive. I think a lot of people get confused thinking supply is, oh, I'm not engaging with him, I'm not answering him, I'm not talking to him, but you may still be checking his Instagram or something like that, and he may see that you're doing that. That's supply. Also, getting you engaged in arguments or conversations is supply. It can be getting you into an argument. That is also supply. Supply is like, tells them that they have control and power to get a reaction out of you. And it's like their kicks, I guess. And if you are primary supply, you're the main person who gives them supply. But anyone can provide supply. It can be their boss, it can be their parents, their family members, their colleagues, anyone who's going to feed them and fuel their ego. It's a supply source. But they usually have one main source of supply.
They are dangerous. I think they're the most dangerous narcissists. I mean, they all are, but that covert.
Because nobody sees them coming, and it's hard then for the victims and survivors to talk about them to people, because they never get to see who this is. So it's hard for them to reconcile. What, really? They really didn't said that? No, they're always so charming. They're always so helpful and friendly. Yes, because they have to be for you guys. They don't have to be at home, because they have you in this kind of cycle of abuse with their patterns behavior. Yeah.
So one of my friends, when I was starting to do my deep dive about narcissism, and she sent me this article about, so I remember last week you talked about gaslighting. Well, I never heard of this term called secondary gaslighting.
Okay, yeah, I've not heard that.
You what?
I've not heard of secondary gaslighting. What's
that? So what it is, so you know how you have the regular gaslighting from the narcissist, just like you said, when you tell a family member or church member, whoever, and they'll say, well, no, are you sure? Well, maybe they meant this. Oh, maybe.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
You're still getting gaslighting, but it's the secondary layer of it, and it makes
indirectly
it bad.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an indirect abuse.
They're because not people are using their own experience, and normal people usually have compassion and empathy, so they're like, surely they don't want to intentionally hurt you. You sure you didn't misinterpret that? And it makes you mistrust your own gut feeling again. Yeah. And then you stay longer because I'll give them another chance. I'll give them another chance. Maybe it was me.
Right.
So all you're hearing is that, you're in the wrong and they're in the right. And then other people are saying that they are in the right, or that you maybe misinterpreted something. And then we go back into another cycle.
Right. And then you're there 16 years later in that same toxic cycle, and you don't know if you're coming or going.
Yep. And in that time as well, you lose pieces of yourself. Like, you're clinging on, you're obviously still there, and you're aware that something's not quite right, but you constantly keep wanting to make yourself better because they keep telling you that it's you, or you're the problem, or why do you keep saying you're doing this? You internalize all of that, and you're always trying to get better and do better, but nothing changes. So it's evident the problem doesn't lie with you.
Right. But if you're being abused, you're not going to see that at all.
No, you just want to keep doing better, keep loving them more, keep giving more of yourself, keeping them happy so that you don't have to walk on those eggshells, because their mood influences your mood and the household mood as well. Have you ever had children? If you have children, you want to keep it all nice. And this is the confusing part. If they're a great provider, these are the things I've heard. Oh, but he's a great provider. Oh, but we have this beautiful home. Oh, but the children are still young. It's like, yeah, all those things are great, but at what cost?
Right. What other things do you hear from clients in a vague sense? You don't give detail.
The reasons, people struggle to reconcile this kind of covert narcissist because they are great outside the home. And people tend to cling on to who they fell in love with, the image, that person. And they get confused thinking that maybe it's because he's depressed that he's like this, or maybe it's because he lost his job, or maybe it's because he's an alcoholic, or maybe it's because he takes drugs, or maybe it's because he went through trauma as a child. All these kinds of excuses, whereas it's the primary thing is who he really is. These are all just kind of secondary and peripheral excuses in a way. Justifications. A person is who they are. These are just reasons that exacerbate who they are. They're not a narcissist secondary to this. They're a narcissist primarily.
Are men or women, what's the higher percentage of narcissism?
Well, it's really hard to find statistics, as you can imagine, because no one goes to get therapy. Narcissists don't tend to want to admit to being a narcissist with NPD or go to therapy unless it's very, very, very difficult for them to function. But that it doesn't happen. That's why there's no support groups for narcissists. There's no support groups for people with NPD, as far as I know, because nobody admits to it. It's everyone else that's the problem. So the statistics, as it stands, are like there are a high percentage of men who are the abusers. But I believe it's because women talk more, women open up more. Women are more in tap with their emotions in general. Men don't necessarily know that they're in a narcissistic abusive relationship because men are supposed to be masculine and strong and not weak. It's maybe seen as weak if the woman is the one who is wearing the trousers, so to speak, in the relationship. Right. And also women who are narcissistic or have NPD can fly under the radar as just being bitches or harsh. You know what I mean? But, if you have a narcissistic mom, she's a woman. She's a sister, a cousin, an aunt, a boss, a colleague, So they're out there as well. I think they just fly under the radar.
I always think of in a covert narcissist as like if you're walking in the garden and you see something moving, you're not sure, and you think it's a belt. But when you step on it, it's a snake. That's a covert narcissist to me.
Yeah, you step on it, it's a snake, and they're like, why did you stand on me? Why did you stand on me even though they're coming to attack you? Why did you step on me even though they're coming for you? Yes, it's you see those images on social media, like, two people kissing, one person's got the knife behind their back and they're the narcissist. They are very two-faced, very, will throw you under the bus given any opportunity, to preserve who they think they are and who they want people to believe they are. That's why it's not worth exposing them. It isn't worth it. People want to get revenge or warn others of them. It isn't worth it because they always come out looking shiny and new or as the victim. So forget them, focus on yourself. It really isn't worth it.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I like what you said about the two-faced. So one of the many experiences I had, so my ex-boyfriend, the narc, we had this mutual friend who found out that he had cancer. So I told him about it that night and I said, oh, such and such has cancer, stage 4. And he said, oh.
Yeah.
That was it. So then when we were out at dinner about a week or so later, we saw that mutual friend and he was in his, hey, how you doing? And like actually showing like he cares. And I'm thinking,
that was not the reaction I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was total opposite. And it
light
turned
and
up.
day. It's light and day.
Yeah.
And those cold emotions or lack of emotions
Hmm.
They have you in the moment perplexed, like you're confused, like why are they not reacting? Like, or there could be something really sad on TV, like anybody would have a tear for, and they're just sat there cold and stony. It just is not normal. Like I know there's nothing that is normal, but there's just nothing there. Like blank, no emotions, very cold.
None.
Mm.
None.
But
And
then in
uh-huh.
public, they are the show person. Yeah.
Oh yeah, showing all 82 teeth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Even shed a tear. They know how to bring on the tears.
Yeah.
But kind of like a child, the tears can come on and off very easily. A child
Mm.
who's trying to get attention or seem remorseful, a child doesn't yet know. Like, a child learns eventually, but these people don't get that kind of, they don't have that skill.
None. They're like the
Mm.
walking emotionally dead.
Yeah. Yes. Some people may hear that and think that's very dramatic. It isn't. That's exactly how they are. There are very little to no emotions. Any emotion you do see is fabricated. The tears are to keep you. The tears are to make you feel sorry for them. The suicide threats are to get attention and to keep you. You know, the anger is to put you in your place so that you stay in your place. The
Yeah.
rage. It's all for it's not authentic or real. It's always for their agenda and their goal, whatever that is at the time.
Mm. Speaking of that, I'm going to read off a couple of the characteristics. If you can give me your input on most of it,
Mm,
can we do
yeah,
that?
yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
let's pull it up. So, all right, covert narcissist. Let me read some of these notes. Insecure, passive, and quiet.
Hmm.
I don't understand that passive part. I can see if it's a passive aggressive.
Yeah. Uh, that's why some people get confused that, oh, are they really a narcissist? Because they're just so quiet. They never get angry. They don't shout. They don't say anything. They're very quiet. But yeah, so quiet as in like internalized, don't really say much, don't really express much, but it's the energy that you feel from them. You feel their energy.
Well,
So that's
yeah.
kind of like the passive thing. They don't raise their voice, they don't shout, they know better than that. Then you can't come at them and say, why are you being that way? They're just being nothing, you know?
Okay. Now I
Yeah.
have some
Not always,
clarity.
but yeah.
Okay. Here's another one. Their will matters most, but they know they can achieve more if they play by the rules.
Yes. So their will, so what they want is what is most important to them. But obviously, if they want to look like a pillar of the community, if they want to appear to be normal, they get married, they have children, they have this family life so that they appear to be functioning. So nobody would ever suspect that they're doing these things behind closed doors because but they have such a beautiful family. Oh, but why would this person marry them? So in their mind, it's like, if I just tick these boxes of what having a life looks like, then I can fly under the radar and slip into society and do what I do.
Mm,
So they
wow.
do what's necessary. Yeah. Hmm.
Right. Just like their counterpart, the overt narcissist, they don't give a damn what anyone thinks, and they'll
Mm,
just do whatever matters to them.
exactly. And, there are gray areas. Some coverts have overt tendencies and will show that sometimes. And the same with the overt. There are gray areas, not just one thing, just like we are all not just one thing. So yeah, the covert can have tendencies when they are overtly narcissistic.
Mm, okay. Well, here's another
Mm.
one. They understand. Oof, this should have been in capital letters. They understand that a fake apology can keep people happy.
Oh yes. Oh yes. I think every single victim and survivor of narcissistic abuse has heard a fake apology. There are some people actually, when I've done posts, they're like, oh, he never apologized. I never heard a sorry. Yes, you probably never heard a sorry, but it wasn't necessary for him to say it for you to stay. That's why. They stayed. Sorry wasn't necessary. He didn't need to go to those lengths, he or she. You know what I mean? But if that was necessary to keep you, then they will say it. They don't mean it, but it's easy to say words. I could say, and this is an example I've used before, I could say I'm a blonde girl from Iceland. Am I? No, it's just words. But if you just heard my voice, you wouldn't know. I don't know. So they could just say anything that is necessary to get what they want.
They're the worst. Okay, here's another one. They care about their reputation and look, well, you already said this, and looking good so that they can make sure they cover their tracks.
Yeah. No one ever suspects these people. Usually as well, once you take yourself away from these people, they go on a smear campaign. You may or may not hear about it. If you block everyone, you're not going to hear about it, but be sure that they are smearing you, or at least coming out looking like the victim. Because no way can anyone sniff out who they truly are.
Right.
If they can say you're this, you're that, and blah, 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 then everyone feels sorry for them, and you're not there to say your bit.
Can you explain to everyone what a smear campaign is?
Yeah, so a smear campaign is basically, as it sounds, the narcissist will drag your name through the mud. So it doesn't even matter what they say or what they don't say. Some people are really hung up about the smear campaign. My opinion, and I don't know, we're all different, is who cares? Anyone who believes what the narcissist says is as bad as them, in my opinion, or they're just oblivious. I can't have those people around me. And if they're not in my circle and they're not my friends, I don't care. And if they are or were your friends and they believe the narcissist, then your connection with them wasn't as strong as you thought it was. And that's okay. Let it go. Let it go and let them go. If they're going to believe it, if they're going to believe what they hear.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But it goes to, do you want to be right or prove yourself right, or do you want to heal?
Yes. Do you want to be right or do you want to heal? I mean, sometimes they do go through the lengths of, lying in court, going to your colleagues or boss, trying to get you to lose your job by making up lies. Some people do go to those lengths, but usually it's just the immediate people who know of the relationship. If it was a romantic relationship, if it was a family member, then they'll smear you to other family members.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I know that.
And that's okay. Yeah, and if they want to believe it, they can believe it. That's fine. Your connection to them wasn't that strong to start with. You're better off on your own with people, because when you get rid of the noise and the toxicity, no matter what shape or form it takes, it makes room for the good ones who are in line with where you're headed, because those people are not where you're headed.
Exactly. You starting to vibrate similarly.
Yeah. Yeah. And you vibrate away from these toxic people and leave them in the dust to their own problems. They can go and find someone else to make their main supply.
Right. Okay. A few more. They're prone to depression with experience of failed ambition and often feel fragile and empty.
Yeah. So I get that. I understand that, because if you had to be fake 24 hours a day and wear a mask and operate on lies and have these crazy thoughts in your mind that you have to control everything and everyone, that would be exhausting. So of course they are going to be depressed or have elements of depression at some point in their lives. Because if you're trying to be the puppet master and people don't fall in line, or people try and make you accountable, and you're trying so hard to put these pieces together, or these which are people trying to control them, and they're not doing what you want, it's going to be exhausting, and it's going to depress you because you're not getting what you want. You're having a tantrum.
Yes, I like how you said that, a tantrum, because that's really what it is.
Yeah, it can be depression, can not be depression, but it's a tantrum because things aren't working how you want it to.
Towards the end of
after time. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Time after time.
Yeah, just time after time, no matter what situation they're in, things don't necessarily go their way because people have their own minds and want to think their own way. You can't control everything at work. You can't control other people in your family. You can't control your loved one. You can try. You can't control your children. They will think how they want to think.
Yeah.
So they're always going to be left disappointed, these narcissists.
Which leads to that empty shell
Depression. Yeah.
and depression.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end of the relationship I had, well, you know what? Let me keep it real. It was already empty inside, but because that trauma bond, I couldn't see it. Then when you can only deny so much of what is really going on, and then I just really saw a shell of a man with no
and no foundation. They're built on nothing. This is the thing, and that's why they're fragile, or people see them as fragile, or they're described as fragile. But don't fall into the trap of feeling sorry for them. They use other people to fill them, and that's why they're never ever happy. You give and give and give and give. It's like a empty bucket. It's like a bucket with a hole. You keep filling, they keep taking, and they move the benchmark. You love them more, you give them more, you do more for them. It just keeps rising and rising and rising.
That
bar rises. Yeah.
Wow. And you're right, because just when you think you're there, you're right. They just push it up even further. And then to be the assholes that they are, instead of an inch, sometimes they'll even put it out a mile ahead, knowing damn well. And then to watch you struggle, trying to attain that. They like that.
Yeah. It's supply, it's fuel, because they had the power to do that to you. They had the power to get you to do more, give more, love more, whatever it may be that you're giving them. It might be like money even, or roof over their head, or love, or affection, whatever it is. You're giving more, you're doing more. But as they're taking, that's why they call them, and people like that, energy vampires. They're sucking the life out of you.
Ooh.
We
can do a whole nother topic on the energy vampires. They will suck the damn blood, emotions out of you. Oh my God. Now, this one I did not understand, which is why I put it on my list. They embrace their victimhood, using their vulnerability to seem sensitive to gain affection. That doesn't, I don't know. That's not clicking with me.
So read that again.
Sure. They embrace their victimhood, using their vulnerability to seem sensitive to gain affection.
Okay, so if you are the partner of a narcissist or somebody with NPD, and you're an empath or empathic and kind and caring, if somebody's there being sad or really sensitive and seem really honed in on their emotions, you gravitate towards them because you want to help them with whatever struggles they're going through. You want to nurture, you want to give, you want to love them more because they're really struggling, and they're such a sensitive soul, because that's the image that they've wanted to portray to get what they wanted, which could be your attention, your love. They love to monopolize your energy and your time. So if appearing to be sensitive and kind of caring, that's probably how you were hooked in the first place. And if you've been in this cycle of abuse and then you see this vulnerable side, you're going to be like, see, that's the person I fell in love with. They are still there. So you stay there a little bit longer. It's all just an act.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're aware it's an act. They just know it's what's going to give them the attention and supply that they need, the fuel that they need.
I think they know it's an act.
Yeah.
I'm biased, so I don't know.
Deep down, they do know, because that's how they've operated for years. They know what works as well with different people. They know what works.
Right.
And the thing is, for us, they are new to us. This kind of personality is new to us, usually.
What do you mean?
To them, so usually if you've had a relationship with somebody like this, it's your first one before you start doing the research. I mean, romantically. Right. There may have been others, but not as bad. But when you start doing the research and the Googling and you find out, it's like, oh my God. I mean, there are others down the track, but this is like the worst one. Or it could have been a parent as well. But what I mean with that is, I can't remember. I've lost my train of thought now. Can't remember what I was saying. But no, sorry, that's it. So yeah, this kind of person is usually new to us because we don't operate that way. We assume they operate and think how we do. But to them, they're normal. They're being normal. That's who they are, you know? So it's not like when we say like, oh, is everything okay? You fine? They know they're not being fine, but it's also normal for them to be like that. It's their norm.
Okay.
You
I
know?
get it now. I get it
Yeah,
now.
it's like their baseline normal. Whereas to us, it's like, there's something wrong with you. You okay? It's like, no, I'm fine. And then you're there like, oh, have I said or done something? But to them, it's who they've been with their whole life.
Oh,
You know?
they are the freaking worst. I swear to God. All right. This is a trigger for me. Oh my God.
Yeah. Put it this way, I wouldn't want to be one. I would not want to be one ever, ever, ever. No way.
No. And you know what? That goes to currently how people need to always practice that self-love and work on their inner self so that they won't be drawn to the trauma bond of someone like a narcissist, no matter what kind they are, because you'll be able to see their bullshit a lot quicker and easier and walk faster and easier.
Just have those senses out, be discerning and narc proof, because they are everywhere to different levels. We see them, we work with them, we may serve them if you work in customer service. They are out there, you know. But if you trust your intuition and those gut feelings, if something feels off, I mean, this is once you've been through the healing process, you know, and you can still give people, one chance, but they have one chance. And you're very comfortable. Because, I don't just cut people off. I was like, okay, I'll give you one chance. I'll see. And then they might do the thing and I'll say, okay, that felt a bit strange. Okay, one more. That's it. Then you're done. And I'm good. So
Sarah,
it's not like no, stay away.
Sarah, you're not having it, huh? 3 and that's it.
No, it's like, and I'm good with that. Before I would have been like chance after chance after chance after chance, and I get hurt. You get hurt. You get to a place where you learn what works, you learn who you are, and okay, I know I've done everything within my power and control. I'm in control of me. I can't control you. I'll leave you over there because you're not in alignment with where I'm going or who I am. So, and I'm good. I don't have any doubts like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have cut them off, or maybe I shouldn't have. No, I'm good.
Yeah, they're the worst. Do they cheat a lot, or are they monogamous for the most part? I think they cheat a lot.
Usually, and this is another thing that people get confused, and they're like, well, he didn't cheat. Well, he may or may not have, or she may or may not have. They just probably didn't tell you, obviously, or you didn't find out, or they covered their tracks. Who knows? But for me, I think it's not necessarily about cheating. It's just they are bottomless pits. Someone's giving you attention. If you're in a relationship, someone's giving you attention, you tell them, no, I'm in a relationship. Please respect that. Them, it's like, oh, more supply. I'm going to go over there. They don't really think the same way as you and I. You know, it's just the bottomless pit of supply. There's no end to how much adoration they can get, or attention, or fuel.
Right.
It energizes them. So it's not really. I don't believe it's really about the cheating. The fact that, oh, I can go and do this secretively, might thrill them. But it's also just about bottomless, bucket with a hole in. Just keep filling it with whatever's going to fuel them.
That's exactly what it is, because their bucket will never fill up.
So that's why we can't give enough. We can't do enough. There is no enough. And that's why it's better to just get out. When you realize, find a way, make a plan, get out safely, and start rebuilding your life, because you will keep filling that empty bucket, and you will never ever be enough for them. You are enough as you are, but for them, you're never going to be enough.
Right. Ooh. Here's one more. They believe that the world has shunned them because of their inherent superiority.
I think some may believe that because they do tend to be arrogant and put themselves on a pedestal because they're amazing, of course, and they're great and they're a pillar of the community. But that is just their false self that they've created, built on crumbs, built on crumbs, and that's why they preserve it so viciously. They preserve their image so viciously because it's built on crumbs, and at any moment, I think they fear people finding out who they are, the covert narcissist, that is.
Exactly.
So,
can you explain to everyone what breadcrumbing is, in case they do not know?
Breadcrumbing, that's where they just give you, it's like dangling the carrot, giving you the bare minimum attention or love or affection. And this usually happens within the cycle of abuse. They give you the bare minimum to just get you back, to claw you back. I liken it to that dangling carrot. For example, if you've been in a relationship for maybe 2 or 3 years and you've talked about marriage and children, and they're like, oh, I was going to get you a ring. I was going to marry you. I was going to propose, but you did this or you said that. So you're just, all you hear in that is propose or ring. So you're like, okay, I need to do what he says and keep everything nice because, I want to marry this person because he's such a great guy or whatever. You know what I mean? Or I bought a ring. But I'm not going to give it to you now because you just can't behave, or you keep doing this or saying that. You know what I mean? So it's like the dangling carrot, the thing that keeps you around, the breadcrumbs, the scraps of love and affection that become your norm. Because, your level of your standards go way down when you're in a relationship like that.
Right. The emotional manipulation with it is, it's never ending.
Yeah. And when you're in it, you can't see, you don't know. Something's not quite right, but you just don't know. And that's why they call it hidden abuse. We all think abuse or domestic abuse or domestic violence is physical. No, that's just the last thing they can do. Usually when they are physically abusive, they've done all the other kinds of abuse as well. It's the lead up to that. But yes, that is hidden abuse because it's insidious. It's slow and steady. There's patterns to their behavior. If you're not sure if you're dealing with somebody like that, think about the last time there was an argument, what happened, and you'll be able to fill in the gaps as to how many days or weeks or months even are in between. And it's pattern behavior.
Does the narcissistic relationships usually end up in physical violence? Or is it just verbal and emotional?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. And this is why there are gray areas. Narcissistic abuse is like hidden abuse. So physical abusers, I heard something a few months ago that narcissists will use whatever's necessary for their target, whatever's necessary to keep you where they want you. If verbal is enough, they're just going to do that. If financial abuse is enough, they're just going to do that. If silent treatment is enough, they're just going to do that. If those things don't work and you keep challenging them, then it can go towards physical because that may work. I don't believe that just because they haven't been physical doesn't mean that they won't. That's just my personal opinion on that.
It's very well said, because they work with what they have, with who's in front of them.
Yeah, it depends. And like I had a session with somebody who her husband wasn't physically abusive with her, but he was with his previous partner. Well, it's because that was obviously necessary. It's not like he's changed. It's not changed his tactics. It's not like he's changed, and it's not like you're better than her. It's just that was necessary with her. It wasn't necessary with you.
Wow. That's so unfortunate. So unfortunate.
It is.
They're very dangerous.
Very.
So if someone lives with, we're going to start wrapping it up. So everyone, Sarah has a beautiful baby girl, so I would respect your wishes to keep it in the time. I have a few more questions if that's okay.
Yeah.
What if someone lives with a covert narcissist? Like, how would they have to, how could they respond? And they know they cannot leave due to finances.
Yeah.
You know, what do they
It's
do?
very difficult when you're stuck with them. And obviously, because of COVID and the pandemic, a lot of people have been stuck with these people for longer than they had planned. To cope and deal with it, I mean, Grey Rock, you can't do that forever, obviously, because they are going to want to engage you in conversations. They are going to maybe want to do family things with you because they want to keep pretending that you are a happy family. The best you can do, I mean, I'm never going to advise someone on how to stay there and how to manage long term, because that is not sustainable. I'm never going to help anybody do that. That's not what I do. But yeah, if you are stuck for the time being, I mean, the first thing is you need to get a plan together. I don't know what that plan is. It doesn't matter if it's a year plan, 6-month plan, 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 years, whatever. You need some kind of plan, because then you know that there's an end to what you're going through and you're working towards a goal. You don't tell them, you keep it to yourself, and you think about where you want to be or visualize where you want to be, not necessarily physically, I mean emotionally as well. And then it means that if you keep that goal in the forefront of your mind, you're going to make decisions that are going to line up with that. Every day, you're going to be plotting and planning, whether that's healing, meditating, spending time with friends and family, praying, whatever works for you. You need to start healing and focusing on yourself. Obviously, when you're in the environment with them, they want to take your time and energy. They don't want you focusing on yourself. So it is very difficult to secretly do anything, you know what I mean?
Right.
And they will catch on. They'll catch on. If they know you're listening to something, they're going to say, what is that? If you get time on your own, if they go out to work, then that's great. Use that time to focus on yourself and heal and work on your plan. Your plan needs to be your focus. That's just my opinion. And yeah, I'm never going to advise anyone or help them stay and manage the situation. Manage it for the short term, but yes, I'm never going to help anyone stay if that's what they want. That's not what I do.
That defeats the purpose of being the coach. You're right. So
I did have someone. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
I was just going to say, I did have someone DM me. I can't remember which country she was in. It was somewhere maybe in Asia, and she wanted to have help or advice on managing the husband so that she could love him more or stay, and so that he wasn't so narky, you know. And I said, I just said, I can't help you do that. That's I give it, you know, some tools to manage in the time being, but I can't help you stay if it's for religious reasons or whatever it is. Like, I'm never going to advocate that. You know, I'm not going to tell anyone to leave. It's up to you. But yeah, I can't. It just goes against everything I believe in. It's not possible to stay in a relationship like that for an indefinite amount of time. Yeah,
it's like a slow drip death.
It's a slow death, and not necessarily physical death, but it's the death of who you are. You lose who you are. You become a shell. As they're taking from you, they're taking. So pieces of you are going. And you look in the mirror, you don't recognize who you are. You don't have that fight. You don't have that glimmer in your eye anymore, that twinkle. Your spark goes, you age, you get sick, you get ailments, you lose weight or maybe put on weight. You're constantly high stress, hypervigilant. It doesn't sound attractive to me. It doesn't sound like an attractive option. Been there, done that.
It's funny and ironic that you talked about the body, because everything you just described, that is trauma. So yesterday I had on another therapist, Celeste, the therapist, and our topic was the body keeps the score.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So many people have, if you don't want address what's going on, or you can't, or you bury your head in the sand, your mind may fool you, but your body won't. Chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, stress, cortisol, all of that. Gut problems.
Yeah.
You got any of that? You've probably got some toxicity around you somewhere.
Yeah. It's real. Some people don't believe it, but it's real. But I think if people just take a really good look, and not even a good look, a deep look, and be honest, and those glasses of trauma will come off, and that's when it gets real. But the beautiful part is that's when the healing can start, when you can identify the problem.
Exactly. And, you know, depending how long you've been in those situations, it becomes your norm to have these ailments. You don't know where they're coming from, but it becomes your norm. As soon as you take yourself out of there, you obviously don't know this yet, but when you take yourself out, you'll see how quickly your health, as you start to heal, improves. Just being away from them and away from their energy, you'll sleep better after time if you're healing, you know, if you're actually doing something. You're going to sleep better, which means your body's going to be able to heal itself. You're not going to be fuzzy and cloudy. You know, everything just gets better. Honestly, everything skyrockets. But you have to do stuff to make it happen. You have to decide and take action.
Exactly. Because talking about it, I need, that's not a proactive measure whatsoever. That keeps you stuck in that emotional quicksand, and you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. And also, you don't need permission from anyone to go. You don't need to explain to anyone. You don't need to apologize. You don't need an excuse. If you are not happy, you need to extract yourself from that unhappy situation.
Speaking of that, for everyone, that's going to roll over into the end of our 3-part series on narcissistic abuse. So Sarah is talking about extracting yourself from that situation. So part 3 is going to focus on the healing and what you can do. But if you want details on how to do that, you have to contact Sarah offline. She's all over social media. Just Google the Narc Proof and Thriving. But that's what you want to do just to get started, but really contact her if you really want an action plan, because she is a narc. Yeah.
And oh, sorry, no, carry on.
Oh no, I'm letting you have the floor. We need to hear whatever comes out of your mouth.
Sorry, I was just gonna say, go to my Instagram page, Narc Proof and Thriving, and the link in my bio has everything there. And I have a group program coming up that they can register for, because I know one-on-one coaching is it's like a luxury item. Group coaching is a bit more suitable for some other people, especially if you like that group environment and a community and a safe place to heal. So register your interest for that if you are interested in healing and moving on, living your life, getting free.
Exactly. We go from being a victim to a survivor, but the ultimate is that you want to be a thriver in life.
Yeah. And there's no end. There's no end to thriving. Like, I'm still on my journey. It just gets more and more and more and more amazing, and you grow. Grow as a person. Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's exciting. You got to get out of the horrible bits first, but that happens. That just happens as you keep going.
It's life. So how's the weather in Australia before we get off? How's the weather over there?
Oh, well, it's been up and down. Like, it was really hot the other day, and then today it rained, like lashed down with rain. It's supposed to be summer, but it's like 18 degrees, and it's, wet and horrible and gray.
Well, what's considered really hot yesterday? What's considered hot?
It was 36 degrees, but it's very humid here. So that's Celsius.
I was about to say that must be Celsius, because
maybe 100, like 98 or something.
Oh, it's hot.
It gets hot. It gets really hot, yeah. But then it's humid as well. It's horrid. I shouldn't complain. The sun was out, but yeah, it's up and down at the moment.
So here in the United States, here in Georgia, particularly, I want to say the high today was about 50-ish, but it's cold as hell right now. It's about 39 degrees Fahrenheit or 34.
Ooh,
It's
yeah,
cold.
I don't even know what that is, but that sounds cold.
It's cold as hell. That's what it means. It's cold. So we are at our hour mark, and I once again respect your wishes. And everybody tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. I have Dorcas Pease coming on with her book release, but we'll talk about that later. But I want you to come back next week so that we can finish our 3-part series with Sarah.
Yes, very exciting.
Sarah, do you have any parting words before I close out?
Parting words, just focus on yourself, focus on where you want to be and who your best possible version is. Block out the noise and go onto your path to being that person. Anything that doesn't go in line with that, shift it to the side, kick it to the curb, get rid of it.
You know what my favorite word, what you said? Was shift.
Shift. Yeah.
Shift
it the other way. Shift it away. It doesn't, if it's not in your journey, get it away. Get it out of your path.
That's right. And get your shift together.
Get your shift together. Exactly. And the other way you can say that as well.
Oh, I'm a cusser. I can say it.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah. So say here. I wasn't sure.
Oh, get your shit together.
Get your shit together in the nicest, most loving way.
Yeah. Get a little raunchy with it. Say it like you really want to say it.
Get your effing shit together. No. You know what I mean. But yes, I really just want the best for everyone. It's possible. Like, I'm smiling and laughing now. I went through the shit. And this is a saying that I've always said to friends like who were in crappy relationships like years ago. You know, you've got to go through the shit to know exactly what good is. Not to say abuse is necessary, of course, but you know exactly what you don't want and you don't know exactly what you don't deserve. So get rid of that and go towards what you do want and deserve and start loving yourself and expecting more for your life.
Exactly. So what I hear you saying is be intentional once you are in your healing mode. Be intentional on, we know what you don't want because of what you had, but focus on more of what you do want and focus your energy that way, right?
Yes. Yeah, because by default, what you don't want is going to go anyway. What you don't want is going to go anyway. So focus on where you're going, what you want, and you'll stay on that path and you'll get there. You've got to be diligent and consistent every day. And then there's no option for it but to happen.
That's it. And
that's a guarantee.
On that note, we're going to let you end on that note. So, Sarah, I will see you next week. I will send all that information over to you again with the links.
Yes, brilliant. Thank you. Yeah.
All right, my love. Yeah. Oh, Pam.
Thank you. See you.
Pam, Pam said excellent advice. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Just never know.
Very, very welcome. Exactly. If there's one person who takes something, that's good.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. All right, my love. I'm going to see you next week. How about that?
Yes. Yes. Have a lovely week and weekend. And thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Your weekend just got started because it's Friday in Australia, right?
Friday.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to, after our live, since it's Friday there, we're going to have a happy hour cocktail. Oh, wait. Do you drink?
Oh. Mm-hmm. It's been locked down as well, of course. I can get a wine ready.
We're going to have a cocktail once we finish talking, then we'll at the end of it, we're gonna toast each other up.
Yes, that sounds good. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I don't mind getting my happy hours. So it's Thursday night here, but I can start early. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's okay. Celebratory drink.
Okay.
All right,
Have a
you're
good
on.
one. Take care.
You too. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Everyone, that was so cool. I enjoyed talking to her. If you have any questions, you can email me however you want, doesn't matter. But if not, thank you for joining me this week on Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. Make sure you visit my podcast, which is Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. And you can find that on all podcast platforms, as well as my social media and my YouTube channel. So make sure and subscribe so you do not miss anything that I post. And you can stay on top and abreast of everything. So if anything made your soul vibrate, like it made mine tonight, made Pam vibrate, I see. Why don't you share the podcast with 2 friends? Share the word. And make sure and tune in tomorrow at 3 p.m. We have Dorcas P. She's the author, and the subject is going to be touchy, but we need to talk about certain things. You know, in our community, in the Black community, this is my opinion, that we hide a lot of issues, and we also do not want to get any help or guidance from it. And so that's why I have this platform here, just because you never know what anyone is going through. So Dorcas, her book is about suicide and depression. So I'm just letting you all know now, there may be some trigger warnings going out tomorrow because I don't know who's dealt with it, but it still needs to be talked about. So I hope to see you tomorrow. And let's be on time, okay? 3 o'clock doesn't mean 3:10. Okay, y'all, I talked enough. Good night. I love you all. God bless you. Mwah. See you later.